It's Bud, and I'm back with another stuff. Alright guys, today we are coming with a very real topic, very topical, very fresh. So I want to get a video out about it and just talk to you guys about it and really just see if we can have some sense here, see if we can have some common ground, even between me and people I don't agree with, okay guys? So let's just set the groundwork right away, okay? Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court today, and we really need to unpack like what that means and go through this slowly, okay guys? What that means is that each United State is going to have the ability to decide how they want to handle abortion laws in their state, okay? Roe v. Wade was very much so a federal blanket protection for abortion. Now, when that blanket of protection is lifted, that means that the rights go to the states. Each state can decide. So in theory, what this means is that in some states, nothing will change whatsoever. This means that if you are in some states, nothing will change whatsoever. This means that in some states, that everything will change, right? Other states where you may have been able to get abortion in the past, it may be virtually impossible to get that now. So that's what this change is going to bring about, okay? Simply that in some states, things will stay the same, and in other states, things will drastically change. Not too much is going to change in our country beyond that. Life will still go on as normal. People will still go to their jobs as normal. Everything is still going to be normal. But in some states, getting an abortion will certainly be very, very difficult, okay? Very difficult. So, let's dive into my perspective as somebody now. I'm a person who has been an atheist since I was a child now. That's simply because I didn't really have any religious upbringing when I was younger. I was basically left to fend for myself. And so for that reason, I am an atheist, but I am pro-life, which is a very conflicting position to take, okay? Because a lot of people seem to think that if you're pro-life, it's because of some kind of religious reason, which is not the case for me, okay? I am pro-life simply because the pro-life arguments are simply better arguments, okay? They are simply better arguments. I could literally fall on either side of this argument and I would have no problem with it. No religious problems with it, no objections either way. It is simply that one side has better arguments, okay? So I want to just kind of unpack that. You know, it kind of feels like the pro-abortion folk, you know, a lot of times it feels like people have this mentality that people just get pregnant out of the blue. You know, in my mind, in my philosophy, I very much understand that pregnancies don't come about by random chance. You can't just be walking down the street one day and get pregnant. There are things you have to go out of your way to do to have a chance of getting pregnant. Now, I simply think that means that you should take responsibility for whatever actions you take. It's not that crazy of a position to have, guys. I'm not out here like being like anti-abortion because I want to use my religion to cudgel people and hold people down. It's not at all anything like that, guys. It's not at all anything like that. I simply just think that the arguments on one side are better. And the first part of that is simply that, you know, one side seems to think that people just get pregnant out of the blue, you know, and that pregnancies don't come about because of a specific action, you know. I think it's very important for us to remember that having a child is a result of a very specific action. If you do that action, having a child is a possibility of that action. You do not get pregnant randomly. If it was the case that people just walking down the street got pregnant out of the blue, I would be 100% in favor of abortion. If it was the case that if just a lady was walking down the street, she was just walking down the street, if somebody zapped a baby into her stomach, God or whatever, I would be in favor of abortion. But unfortunately, that's not the case, man. Having a baby is a result of a very specific action. So, you've got to take responsibility for those actions, I think. I really do think that. So that's kind of the first part of the dilemma for me, and really kind of the whole point of putting this out there for the internet is really just I want to try to get common ground with somebody that is pro-abortion, because I want you guys to understand that I'm not some kind of like crazy religious person, okay? I just think that the arguments on one side are actually better. Simple as that, and then it kind of comes down to is an abortion killing a life, right? It comes down to that question. Is abortion killing a life? I think, like, in my head, the better argument is yes, that's ending a life if you do that. In my head, that is ending a life, right? And in my head, there is no, like, legal justification for it, right? Yeah, so there we got, this is a very common argument too. It's important to bring to the forefront. Daniel Marquez, what about if a person gets raped? A very good point. That's really kind of where you start to get into the gray areas, where I will start to agree with people. You know what I mean? When you start to ask questions like that, you're going to find out that I'm going to start agreeing with people that I would typically not agree with on this argument. When you start to ask me about very specific situations like that. With that being said, I don't like to look at my position as the extremes, okay? I like to look at my position as a general best practice. One side of the debate is happy babies lives will be saved. Yeah, so, happy babies will be saved on one side, angry babies will be saved on one side. At the end of the day, though, what I would say about that argument that you've just laid out there is that you don't know whether somebody's going to be a happy or an angry baby until they are a baby, simply put. Does that, do we have the right to basically, prejudge babies before we find out if they're angry? Before we find out if they're happy? I don't think so, man. I really don't think we should be prejudging people in that sense, I really think that we should let the chips fall on the table and go from there, So when it comes to this whole abortion talk, there will still be states that people can go to get abortions, whatever. There will be states where it's more difficult, but life will go on, okay? Life will go on. Everybody will go on to live another day, to fight another day. For those people that feel like they're in a tough spot, what I would say is this. You don't know for a fact that having a child is going to make you upset. You can't know that until you actually have a child, okay? You cannot fucking know that until you actually have a child. So it's very important, because people have this mentality where they're telling themselves in the moment, this is what's going to make my life better. But in reality, it's unknowable. You don't know what's going to make you happiest until you are your happiest. So another important to take away is simply that, And with that being said, I just want everybody to be happy, guys. I want to argue, I want to take a strong position, but at the end of the day, I think we can all come to an agreement, okay? I think we can all come to an agreement. Simply put, I think we all agree that an abortion at 9 months is bad, right? I think we all can agree that an abortion at 9 months is bad, right? Everybody can agree with that, because that baby could be taken out of the womb and could go on to live an entire life. So we all can agree on that. If we work backwards from what we agree on, I have a feeling we can all come together on this stuff, guys. Exactly. Let's all be responsible. It kind of comes back to a little bit more of a conservative mentality of everybody take responsibility for your own actions. It is kind of a little bit more of a conservative mentality, but it does kind of apply. People really should take responsibility for the actions they choose to take in life. Okay. And if somebody does get pregnant, I've had, I guess I may as well say it. I've had scares where I thought I got somebody pregnant when I was way too young. But at the end of the day, I I was still a smart guy back then, and I would have probably been fine either way, no matter what option. Had that been a real scenario, whatever option we would have chosen, we probably would have been fine. And I want everybody to know that the world is tricky. You know, you can take a spot on one side, but at the end of the day, we can all kind of agree that that there are certain things that we agree with on the other side. Simply put, there are scenarios that we agree with, and all those little nuances are what's going to bring us all together, really, at the end of the day. You know, I agree, we need to come together. It's just hard to come together. Exactly, and that's exactly it. You know, you when you say that you know, that's exactly it, though. You know, when you say murdering innocent babies, right? There's an entire side that would not phrase it in such a way. There's an entire side that looks at it as, oh, I'm not murdering a baby, I'm just removing a clump of cells from my body, right? Who's to say who's right? Maybe who's right doesn't even matter, you know? I think we should try to all, you know, if it's the case that two people have those differing positions, people really should try to come together and try to find some common ground, because I think there is a lot of common ground to be had. And we spend a lot of time dividing ourselves based on these small, minute differences and stuff. So, woo! With that being said, everybody, I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope everybody can have a nice, safe, and really level-headed arguments when it comes to this topic, you know. This topic might be dead for a while now that the Supreme Court decision is ruled out, you know. Kind of feels like it'll basically put a damper on this argument for now, but I hope we all can come together, though, guys, because at the end of the day, man, we are all one people. We are all dividing ourselves for no reason at all. It's so frustrating, guys. We gotta stop dividing ourselves, all right? We gotta stop dividing ourselves. That just means that we lose. And that's really all I wanted to say, everybody. Just wanted to come and say we got to stop dividing ourselves, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, everybody. Let's hear some words down in the comments if you guys want to argue. I would love to hear it. I'm going to be there to argue with you guys. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.